Alright, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is put that machine back together from last night. And dear God, did I? Oh no, thank goodness I didn't. As I say, did I leave my glasses out in the other room? Which would mean I'd have two sets of glasses out there. It's coming out of the wash pretty good. So hopefully that should keep this running for a while. Stuart, John, Barry, Miles, Sorcerer. Hey, Byron's here. Hey. Better buy another pack or box of 10 of those. Almost on the verge of running out, and you can be guaranteed that I will run out on a weekend when I've got lots of jobs that need to have thermal paste applied, and then I'll have to go down to the local store and they'll probably have something ridiculous like super bling bling metal film, perfect 100% extra type complete crap. That's it. Just gonna make sure I have my orientations right there. Then we'll get too presumptuous. Okay. And then once this is out of the way, we can get on with a couple of other little things. Yeah, Stuart, I just use, it's pretty standard stuff. The extra cost and such and complexity, not that it's that complex, but basically I just find, Arctic, aluminium, yeah, perfectly good for what I'm doing. Never had any troubles with it. And I know plenty of people said, messaged me, emailed me saying, you should really try this because it's really, really this and this and this, and it's like, it's just not worth it. The stuff applies very easily. It has an excellent spread rate. You don't have to get everything perfect. You just pretty much slap it on, smear it back and forth a bit, clamp it down, and it's just good to go. And it gets 99.9% of the performance of the higher spec stuff at about a quarter of the cost and about 5 or 6 times the dependability. Okay. Hey, Pro Engineer. Barry. Children, those things. Nano diamond type from J-Car. So you'd be paying a fair premium, I'd imagine, coming out of J-Car. This stuff I just get from whoever's selling it cheapest in bulk lots. Okay. It's a little bit of a tricky mainboard to get in because of the way that they've folded and slotted the circuit board for the cable to go through there. I don't know what genius came up with that one, but almost wasted a bunch of time then. Seems to get me every single time. Always forgetting to put the display cable back on. Fortunately, as the jobs go on, I tend to catch myself forgetting that sooner and sooner. Catherine, hey Yanko. Teresa, I can appreciate the tiredness thing. I'm feeling quite tired myself, but There is work to be done, and I lost an hour and a half or so today because I was a big dilly and I had a slip when I was undoing or doing up. I was undoing one of the tri-wing screws for an iPhone 7 home button, and it smashed into some overfilled, a overfilled section in the actual home button itself. Needs to say, when I finish doing the screen replacement and I go to power it up, it takes 3 or 4 minutes to boot, which I know is not a good thing, and then sure enough it comes up and says home button not detected, and of course activates the fail-safe assistive touch home button, and I was like, oh crap. Anyway, needs to say that slip of the screwdriver crashed into the component under that overfill, and it turns out that component is a capacitor, so for that I am very thankful. And I managed to physically break the capacitor corner, which caused it to go into a short. I was able to get rid of, remove the cap, and then the home button was detected again, but it didn't work quite so right. So then I had to put a new cap on there. I stole one from a dead iPhone 7 from the other week. It had a SD RAM short in it that I couldn't fix. So I thought, that's fine, I'll take your cap out of your home button, thanks mate. Anyway, long story short, it did end up working. It's all working now, but it was like an hour and a half of lost time. And when you're already short on time, it's really not a good thing to be doing to yourself. Hey Artin, evening to you. You little mangy little SOB of it. Don't know why they put tape onto those things. Pretty much always comes off when you try to slot it back in. Right. I suppose we should check to see it actually boots. Yeah, Miles, as you say, at least it was fixable. For a bit there, I was thinking I was doomed. I was genuinely worried that there would be some sort of crucial EEPROM chip or something under there. One of those little four ball BGA jobbies. But fortunately it wasn't. So I was very lucky in that respect. Okay, we're back up to 20 volts, so that's a good start. 600, it's looking good. Yeah, okay, we'll be good again. One thing I am having to do now with the boards, more having to do, is after they have come out of the ultrasonic cleaner and then rinsed in water, I use the canned air to blow out the underneath of the CPUs, even on these things where the CPUs are very close to the board. In fact, more so on these than the older boards where the CPUs sit up a little bit higher, because I'm getting too many instances, even at 20 minutes at 125 centigrade in the oven, where they'll come out and they just won't boot properly because they've got liquid under the CPU. So now take them out of the rinse, blow out the CPU, and then stick them into the oven. That was displaying something then. Now, oh yeah, okay, I've still got my scrolly, so yeah. Alright, that's cool. So from here we can proceed to finish the job. Because that's nothing quite like that sinking feeling you get when you have accidentally cracked or damaged something like a rollback or ID chip, things like that. You just sit there and you look at it as if to go, if I stare at it long enough, it might go away, or it might fix itself magically. Unfortunately, it doesn't tend to be the case. Ach man, come on. What is it? Okay, what I'm trying to do here is actually put the screw into that very frustrating assembly, the 3.5mm or whatever the heck size it is. And then that way, it's definitely not a 5. And that way I can just drive it in without a hex driver. Like so. And then we just grip it with a pair of pliers and back it out. Yeah, Miles, I'm not keen on using the IPA baths anymore. Like I said, that residue is very annoying. And I would hazard to say that even with the IPA bath, there's still a moderately reasonable risk of you having pockets of water under the CPU still. Not as likely, but I still think it's feasible. But at least with the blowout, it's all solved and you don't get the residue. Why can't? Only because I was trialing it. I'll get myself one of those airbrush compressors, the oilless ones that have like a 3 litre tank on them. That should do the job nicely. Probably about $150 or so Australian. Get one of those, it'll do the job. I don't really want one of those workshop style ones, it's like 10 or 15 litre tanks on them. They're just a little bit too big and noisy. And when they kick in, they tend to draw a little bit too much current, which could upset a lot of other things in here. I mean, it's bad enough that I got the hot air going. There is a convenience to having the just compressed air can as well, but given that I have a hard enough time using napkins, I will certainly be switching over to a compressor at some point. Like I said, just a little airbrush one, and then I'll get a little dual trigger airbrusher, or maybe single trigger, single action. Depends what they're shipping with it. It's all you need. Put a fine nozzle on that and you should be good. You just never need to put paint in it. Hey Commutix. The other thing is, the original reason I got the compressed air in the can was because it was for the iPads. I don't know how long a single can will last. Ach nee man, come on. Okay. Keep an eye out for the Aldi airbrush kits with compressors. Okay, I normally hunt around on eBay. We don't have an Aldi here. I think the closest Aldi is 700-800 kilometers from here. But eBay is usually where I go for them. I guess I don't have one at the moment because you're right, for around the house they're fantastic things to have, and I used to have some oil-free compressors, and I actually did have an airbrush one here, but the fittings got damaged on it, and I just sort of went, stuff it and tossed it out. It's one of those things where, because I tried to actually get the fitting off, but it had seized over the years. And I thought, at this time I just don't have the time and energy to stuff around with it. So it went for a trip down to the recycling bin. And I didn't have any nice fittings for it. It was just more like I just had the free end of the PVC hose and it was like pss, 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 and that was it. It was no good. But this time I will get myself one with a reasonable reservoir on it. Ooh, pull. Come on, work out your shapes, man. That's it. Hey, Mark Billman, Toes Tech. Also, if you want a fancy airbrush kit, my cousin works for Iwata. Iwata? What are the, I guess they do painting stuff. I'm not personally after a fancy airbrush kit. Years ago I was, when I was doing the model aircraft stuff. It'd be nice to spray paint the planes. Canless Air X3 Hurricane. I've looked at those and I'm just not sure they'll have the burst pressure capability that sometimes you need. Just that shock pressure. But I have looked at them, they're pretty expensive though. At least here they seem to be. I could be wrong. I'll have another look. And I should have actually put this screw in before I put that plate down, but we might be able to jiggle it in. Ugh, man, come on. I feel completely out of alignment with myself at the moment. Cheapish one for Super Cheap came with decent hose and cheap impact and wrench. Oh yeah, I know the ones you're talking about there. There was a bit of a wave there a few years ago where everybody was basically trying to win the race to the bottom with the compressor wars, and I think you could pretty much pick up a complete kit for $99 or something for a 20 litre one or 21 litre. But like I said, they're noisy as hell. They have a bit of a electrical impact when they kick in. I just want something that I can sit under the bench here on its own, which is why the airbrush type one I'm thinking of. And particularly because a lot of the work I'm doing does just simply want me to use, very fine work. How are we going here? Looks like we've just got one more screw to go and then latch in the battery. I might just clean up a bit of that coffee residue there. Let's see. Paper towel. A little bit of 80-20. Really, for this sort of thing, I should be using something more like 20-80 instead of 80-20. You don't need that much alcohol, but you do actually need a bit more water. Sometimes it just doesn't feel like you're latching in. It's kind of feels like a sloppy fit, but it's not. I don't trust it. I just don't trust it. No, it's definitely latched in. It's because it's not lifting away when I do that. Okay. Just a very sloppy fit. Hey Vin, good evening to you. Stop trying to cross-thread. I love when people put these screws in, or any screws for that matter, and when it tightens up, because of a cross-threading issue, they don't back it up and try a new angle. Instead, they're just like, oh, let's apply more force to it, and that should fix it. Alright. And let's see, we've got the teenage age coming in again. Right. Hopefully the battery's okay in this. I just realised I didn't really test it to see if... Okay, so we've got our Apple logo. Funnily enough, the Apple logo feels a little small there, but... we'll find out. Just tilt that up, just in case it comes up for anything personal. Hey Hyperman, how's it going? How's business going in Townsville? Yeah, I was right, the Apple logo was a bit small. It came back and was larger. Hey Andre. The performance is very sucky on this right now. I'm not sure whether it's... Sonia, good evening. It's okay, Miles. We understand. We just sort of take the opportunity to... let's see... we take the opportunity to gain some moral high ground at your expense. That's basically how it works. Was that a bong? Did I hear a bong? The logo's back at the proper size now. Ah, beautiful. Yep. We're looking good. I'll see if this can boot. Okay, 19%. We've got enough energy there. I'll see if this can boot from a USB stick, though it's very unlikely. I think by default now they do not allow you to boot from alternate media unless you explicitly go in, and yeah, it straight away goes to the solid state. Damn it. Been busy as always, opening a new... oh wait, it did let me in. Opening a new store. Oh, where's your new store? Also got a laminar flow bench to start playing with. Oh boy, you definitely need a new store for that. So with the laminar flow bench, is that going to be for making sure when you put tempered glass protectors down that there's no dust under them, or you're going to start doing something fancy? Yeah, I don't know what this is doing right now. It's not booting. I think it may have gone back to... oh, I guess we'll see. What are you doing? Security settings do not allow this Mac to use an external startup disk. Son of a gun. Oh well, that was expected. I do like having the startup option to be able to boot from these sticks because I've got all my test programs on there. When it comes to testing through the client's boot, it's a little bit slower and more annoying. Well, anyway, at least I did get to see that the touch bar was working. We saw the escape come up then. Alright, that's good. We're happy. Fixed. Hallelujah. Alright. Let's get on to something a little more entertaining now. And try and build myself one of those OpenBoardData capture boards because the circuit boards arrived today. Hallelujah! I was thinking they were never going to turn up. Hey, 10-minute tech. You're getting... Oh, your new store's across the road. Are you kidding? Working on data recovery for hard drives? Oh, man, that's a big investment. I mean, some of those tools are ludicrously priced. Like, you know, £700 for a simple head comb that only works on one particular type of hard drive. You've really got to go all out with the investment for that sort of stuff. So good luck to you. Good luck to you. Okay, so yeah, we got our new boards. I was contemplating buying myself a clean room many years ago, but then I decided no, I just can't justify it myself. Okay, so these are my tiny 45s rather. Okay, looks like I got those right. That's good. Let's see if I can find where I put the other buttons. I'm sure I had some more left. Yeah. Somehow convince head office to set up a new store is... Oh wow. Okay. Seems like you're good on the investment pitching. It's good to know. Alright, let's get this thing underway. Unfortunately, as I said before, this is a sort of size where it's a tough choice for me to either use the microscope or not use the microscope. And this is my guide in case I forget where I'm going. Shouldn't be too hard. I've basically only got a 1K5, 268s, 100 nanofarad and a 10K. Yeah, okay, we've got this 220 over here. But it's comparatively trivial, really. Have you published it? No, I have not yet. I will, but I haven't yet. I mean, there's no point me publishing them until I feel like they're ready to go. Okay. Kind of feel like I am going to end up needing the microscope for this, I'm afraid. It's very sad. Very sad. Let's see. Why don't I need to create... Let's see if I've got some spares here. I do. Awesome. I'm going to create my own little assembly deck. So I want 68, 1K5, 10K, still 10, okay fine, 10K, 100 nano, damn it, 220, and diodes. These are incredibly old, these little containers, so I'm kind of worried as soon as I start using them, they're actually going to just pop and break. The little latches, they have a bad habit of snapping off. Okay, so resistors, right, diodes. Important to note that I actually can't use Schottky diodes for this job. You have to use normal silicon junction diodes, standard rectifier ones, because if you use a Schottky, then the forward voltage drop on them is not actually enough. And I used to be able to de-spool these strips into the little containers very quickly. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it so well this time. Yo, it's very dirty. But yeah, it used to be a case of you would... Yeah... I think I might have to order more of those 68s. Gotta add that to my 1114 order. Okay, next one we want is the 1K5. But yeah, if this one works properly, then yeah, we'll publish it. So I've got nothing that I'm actually trying to withhold. It's just a case of I don't like always, unless it's my own software, I don't like to put out stuff that is going to misguide people to build something and it ends up being completely bogus. I know, I've got a few escapees there. Well, one. You're probably wondering why I'm bothering to go to this trouble when I'm only building one at the moment. That's because I've got at least 20 more to build, so having this set up kind of makes it a bit easy. 10K, I already do have 10K containers, but 10K is something I use so often that it doesn't hurt for me to have multiples. The question is, will I find... there's a really good reason why I can't find 10K in this, and that is because this box is for 0 to 9K99. So that makes sense that 10K is in here. Did we end up using 220 or 390 on that previous board with a LED? So we used 330. So that's going to be wrong. Come on. Wipe out the 220. Right, 330 on it. I'm not exactly sure what they call these cases, but they're just little component cases. You can get them on AliExpress and almost everywhere now. Back in the day, as it were, it was a bit of a schlep to try and find them. There are a couple of electronic stores that would stock them, but the quality was inconsistent. It probably is high time that I bought a whole new batch of them, because like I said, the plastic is going to be brittle and will break. These resistors are getting old too. Hopefully they haven't suffered too much sulfuration or whatever, because I haven't really been I've been keeping them out in the shed. So who knows? Okay. Diodes. Right. let's see. 1N914s. That's what I used last time, the 1N914s. Probably don't need to quite go... I don't need to use tiny ones this time because I actually put some larger pads there. Obviously, we don't have to use pads that size, but it is a little bit easier if we move up a little bit from what the other ones were. Let's see, what have we got here? Yeah, so like these are probably a bit better. They're 4148s. Let's see what they look like. Okay, they're a little bit stupidly small now. Overshoot. Alright. We can use them, but yeah, they'll be a little bit of an overshoot. FAT54s, TL431s. We can go classic glass ones, but no. Okay, these are Zenas. 1N4004s. Yeah, this is your classic sort of... We'll be able to pump a couple of amps through the board now. And these are probably going to be a bit too big. Because these are SMA, I think. Oh no, all good. Okay, so we're going to use those ones. Got a fair number of them. Finally, get to use them. Not really getting more than about 2 or 3 in each grab, but we'll get there. Disinclined to pour the container out, because you know if I do that, there's going to be a squillion of them just falling everywhere. It's like I need one of those chemistry spoons, the little ladles that they use for measuring out the powdered chemicals. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay, now we need some 100 nanofarads, 603 caps. Put these diodes back up. Honestly, it's not really going to matter with the 100 nanofarad or 1 microfarad. It's so broad what you can get away with. You'd probably not want to go less than 100 nanofarad. I think things will probably start becoming unstable if you drop below about 47. But you can certainly go more. You can easily go up to 470. Probably without any ill effect. Yeah, Pro Engineer, I know what you mean. It's when I originally did my reflow oven, which I've now repurposed as the circuit, the MacBook, what do you call it, drying oven. That was a major project to try and find the right pizza oven and make sure we get the controllers right, write the software for it, all that sort of stuff. But you're right, now on eBay you just go and buy yourself a $200 controlled oven and that's it. And it does a better job. Okay, so I've still got my 10Ks to go. Yeah. Like I said, it can seem like it's a little bit tedious to do this at the start, but once you get rolling with the build, you're thankful for the fact that you get everything prepped. And I'm not even much of a person who enjoys prep work, but when it comes to building multiple circuit boards or populating multiple circuit boards, I definitely appreciate the prep. Arnold G, no, that was deliberate, mate. I told I told YouTube not to notify you. Oh, cool, blimey. Really? Extremely sparse in that box for some reason. That's fine. We'll steal the 10K from another series here. I'm not even going to pour them out, I'm just stealing the actual box itself. Oh, we've got our LED. That's right. Okay, so we've got our 10Ks. Hopefully we've got 20 odd in there. Yep. God, you mangy bastard. Get in there. Ow. Seems a little cantankerous. Alright. So since we're not using that, we will change that to the LED one. And the fun thing's going to be me remembering which LED we used. By the way, we're not going to do all of them tonight. I'm just going to do one, check it works, and then I've got other work I've got to get done. That will be on stream though, probably. Okay. Oh, come on, LEDs, where'd I put yours? Aha. Alright, so I believe we went with the red 1206 high outputs. I seem to recall that. These ones here. Let's have a look and see if it's actually got the same. Nope, that's a different one. Let's see how that one's got like the dog leg, the double dog leg with the green, whereas this one here is straight. This one's the double dog leg. Okay, so looks like we found our required ones. It's very handy knowing that these parts are almost always magnetic. Okay, let's get rolling. I'll keep that flux imbued diode out of there. Arnold G, what'd you do? You showed the video of Zombie Fuse. Oh yeah, that was always a fun one. Yep. Hey, Six Girls. So yeah, hopefully we won't fire truck this up too much. Hey Primo. I'm not putting down a lot of flux, it's just enough to help the reflow. Yeah, now you really do depend on good tweezers for this sort of stuff. You don't want them sticking to your part. Okay, so that's the 1K5. And now we want a pair of 68s. And normally if I was doing pick and place, I would be using my little aquarium pump suction device, but we're not. Because we're not doing reflow on this one. It's a lot easier with the micro pencil, I must say. Shame I can't really see what I'm yanking out of these containers. I can see well enough to be able to grab the part. That's about it. Other way around. Michael, these are so we can capture board values, diode values, volt values and things like that from circuit boards. We don't need to have these, but these do make it substantially easier to just put the data in when you're looking under the microscope and you're dealing with multimeter probes and things like that, and you want to be able to basically hit confirm or back or forward with the data list. Probably going to need to put a little bit of flux down for those two, because the heat required means it's going to burn off before it's ready. Yeah, we don't have four hands. It's essentially it. Well, it's more a case of you don't want to have to look up while you're doing the job. Well, so far tolerable. I hope they didn't send me super tiny. Oh dear God, no, no, no. They have sent me, no. What the hell? These aren't right. No, these are the wrong size. I've ordered the wrong size. God damn it. Is there any chance of me using these? And to think I waited quite a bit of time to get these little SOB things. Why is it always like this? And of course naturally the one thing that I didn't bother putting multiple pads down for, of course, is the microcontroller. And lo and behold, guess who needs a microcontroller pad with the different... for flip's sake. That is just so freaking typical. Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna fit that on. What a major posterior pain. I thought they looked a little bit sus. I'll just order more. That's okay. I'm going to migrate the chip from the other board, and we can just see if this board works at least. No, we're not even going to bother dead bug. I'll just order more, but I'm going to migrate for tonight. Good thing I wasn't on a deadline, eh? But that is just so very difficult. And I didn't even bother to check the chips when I got them. I just sort of thought, oh yeah, I got the chips, beauty, mate, no worries. Listen, I'm not even going to bother. I'll just order another batch of the tiny 45s. They'll be here in a week, I hope. COVID is kind of messing with things a little bit. Just a pain, that's all. They're from Element 14. I will keep them, these new size ones, for a future project or something, but yeah, I'm not going to send them back to Element 14, so, oh, I got the wrong ones. I mean, it's only like $30 worth, so it's not a big issue. I'll flip a neck ball. I wanted that ground pin to be a little better secured with the... That's better. Yeah, I saw Australia Posters doing that to us. Alright, well, we'll just hot air the old one off. Fortunately, the pinouts don't change. This was version 2 of the board. You can see that beautiful kludge that we had. Yeah, it's probably not going to go anywhere at 250, so we'll try a 390. Why? What? Why is it? Yeah. Yeah, that was because of the engineering team's mistake, where they got the ISP messed up. Well, that's a start. Yeah, we'll get our buttons now. Well, I'm definitely not happy. I'm not happy about the fact that my chips are the wrong size. It just seems like such a normal thing for me to trash up, get messed up. Things cannot go smoothly, it's not allowed. Yeah, when it comes to footprints and things like that, I tend to like to go with the last known project that worked and steal from that. Ow. Now, I did have the right footprint, but the problem was that I connected the wrong rails to it. So that was entirely my fault in that instance. Yeah, I know, Keith. It's more frustrating, Keith, than anything else, simply because of the time lapse that's been going on. It's just starting to take a little long to get this project rolling. I ran out of solder. Just gonna redo this one. Didn't really get enough on that. There we go. And by the way, on the back of these boards, I can't remember who asked for it, but I put a little dev board array there. I could have put the chip on there and done it that way, but no, run hotwire, dead bug style on the other side. But nope, not doing that. All right, let's see if this plugs in and works. Unbelievable. Ah, there it is. I was trying to find my USB mini connector. So ideally we should get at least a light. Yep, okay, we've got a light. Let's see if we get some, so the middle should be enter. Okay, so that works. Let's see, that should be tab, so if I double tap that, it should bring up file names. Or maybe like S. Yep, okay, that's good. Means the shift tab probably works as well. I suppose we could do it in flexboard view. So we should be able to just jump, yep, and back. So it works, no problems. Okay, so the firmware we know at least works. We just have to get the right tiny 45s. Oh well. And the other thing, I put I think what I'll do for the future ones is I may consider ultrasonicking the boards before I put the buttons on. It's not a good idea to ultrasonic the buttons. They don't like it. Well, there we go. That works. Ah, my nose has got itchy all of a sudden. Must be all the lies I tell. Okay. Should have known they were too small. Damn it. Really frustrating. I think for me the frustration is more just the time delay. It's going to be another week and a half probably before I get them. Can't blame Kevin Rudd for it. You could probably blame Stephen Conroy for it. And then Tony Abbott, and then Malcolm Turnbull. And of course Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch. So they're pretty much all the people that conspired to prevent Australia from getting proper internet, all simply in order to make sure their pockets got well filled. Oh, and the little Telstra guy, what was his name? Forget it now. Turoko was, I can't remember his name. I should remember my enemies' names. Taruso or something like that. It needs to say they all came together and basically inhibited Australia from getting proper internet and gave us this hackfest that we have instead now, which we'll probably be stuck with for the next 30, 40 years. Alright, time to get into MacBooks. Let's see, eeny meeny miny moo, catch a MacBook and see if it goes. Hey, I got a 14, yeah, I could do a 1466. It's got that one's got personal information on the backside. Richard Cranium. Yeah. Well, Elon's Starlink is going to be very useful, certainly, but it's never going to replace a solid fiber to the premises type situation. I mean, I think we definitely need something like Starlink. I think it's going to be very useful, but when you have the option, certainly be taking landline. Well, that's just a great way to ruin a MacBook, Paul. You got to have the hard link. Okay, I'm going to have to flip to my face because I don't want people seeing what's on the underside of this machine. So here's my face. OSIS, now I do believe the original plan was fiber to the... Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, the original plan is fiber to the premises. And then we got shunted down to the hack job mix mode. What's scary is the amount that Telstra got paid initially to be able to shut them down, and then to be able to use their pits, and then to be able to use their copper again after we changed everything around. It was an absolute cluster truck. Makes you wonder whether it was all planned from the start. You don't get to look at my face that much. Meant to look at MacBooks. Okay. Another MacBook Air with a logic board fault. Unplugged battery. Tested, known working MagSafe. No fan spin. No chipmunk lights. Alright. Well, at least they checked the chipmunk. They checked the chipmunk. But they did not check the MagSafe. Yeah. Paul's really got to learn to stop singing because he can't sing. And I'm not hurt by that reality. I just choose to ignore it. Yeah, I don't plan to quit my day job. Okay, I can already see corrosion on the USB port there. Remove the battery. Query post mode. You can sing when no one's listening. That's kind of like the guy that's invisible when no one's looking. What was that? Mystery Man. Yeah, that's it. You ordered TV, so you have to start filming 4K. Okay, you can send me the stuff for the 4K production, and I will gladly participate with that. I will also need to get my internet line upgraded. Yeah, we do seem to have lost a lot of our repair streamers. You know, Tim's sort of going AWOL now and then. He comes back, but generally goes AWOL again. He's got a lot of things to do, so that's understandable. Jason Vilmer only just made a reappearance, but he's never really been one for the live streams. I think he did a total of 1, and I completely understand that. Can't hold that against the guy. So yeah, we have a lot of people missing from the industry in terms of live streaming, and that's really disappointing. Because I mean, I like to be able to watch people live, do their repairs. Gives me a nice opportunity to sit back and mock them. And now I've got nothing. Okay, we've got a MagSafe. We've got 32 milliamps, which usually implies we've got a fat short somewhere. And like I said, I can see corrosion on there. Missing... okay, but... well, this is a 165. Or Promo, are you actually asking or are you saying? Anyway, so there's the corrosion I can see. Because if you are missing that line, it's probably something on your DC inboard. Replace your DC inboard, check the DC inboard connector. Because that line usually comes from there. And check the flat flex. And yeah, if all of that checks out, then have a look at that connector there. Oh, actually, you know what it probably is? You're going to laugh at this. I don't know if you are aware of it, we'll find out. Are you using a MagSafe 1 power brick with a MagSafe 2 adapter on it? If you are, that's why. Oh, but wait, you got a 3437. That doesn't make sense then. The 165s will do that if you use a MagSafe that they don't like, and there's a lot of MagSafes that they don't like. So I may have gotten a little bit too presumptuous then, I'm sorry. I did think I see you say 3437 then. But yeah, it's a bit sad that it's all coming down to me. I mean, I've got nothing to do. I don't get paid enough to babysit you all. 859. Sonia, that editing videos, yeah. I don't know how anyone really finds the time for it anymore. So my full congratulations to you if you can manage to spit them out with editing. There's a couple I would like to edit. I was going to do the fix of the iPhone home button tonight. Unfortunately, it turns out that my recording settings are way too low, and it looked like a genuine potato camera situation with that, so unfortunately that is useless. And then you have other things like you forget to do the audio. Yeah, it's the trouble with recording is there's so many things that can go wrong, and often does go wrong. Alright, promo, yeah, with yeah, check your flex, your DC inboard, or that connector. At least as an initial thing. But yeah, if it was a 165, I would have blamed it being on a non-genuine MagSafe 2 brick, because the 165 is rather picky about that. Even if you're using genuine Apple, what is going on here? The genuine Apple MagSafe 1 to MagSafe 2 adapter, the 165 says nay, I will not turn on. And it gives that really weird missing rail that you've said. Arnold G, that is an amusing way of saying that. Okay, so we've got it. The only hint we have was on the DC input board. I'm going to laugh if I plug this in with a different DC inboard and it works. That would actually be mildly entertaining to me at this point. Because sometimes what happens is you get these stores and they have on-site techs, like techs that are more than just simply they know a little bit about it, but they just don't have the equipment or the experience to do the repairs. And sometimes what you can do is you get invested into thinking that it's going to be a board problem, and you miss the obvious. I'm not saying that's the case, but it's a possibility in this case. And in this case, no. It is interesting, the MagSafe changed to an orange, so I suspect that SMC is all up and running. Okay, so we're probably looking for a short. Is that or SMC clock? Not SMC, RTC clock might be out of action. Let's dive on in and have a look. Let's see, start up here. It could be a dead CPU. I suppose we should check that first, eh? Given how unlucky we've been lately. We can't really actually run the gym cam at this point because we're only drawing 32 milliamps, so whatever it is, it's shutting it down before we get anywhere. Okay, so we've got 16, 17, and so that's pretty good. So what is this one? We have a 1.68. I'm kind of curious, do we have that one already here? $15.7. Ach, niemand. We'll just do the same for this one as well. And that is how you incrementally improve things for everybody. To be fair, I kind of made the mistake there. I made the assumption that whatever is affecting this board will not affect the CPU value, but it's highly unlikely. So on the first pass, we're just going across, seeing if we can see anything that's gone kablammy. Anything distinctly visual, apart from bits of crusty snot on the feedback resistors. There is this. There's a little bit of, but it probably is flux, but we'll just put a red dot on that in case we come back to it and realise it is at fault. It's either going to be a short or one line that has been knocked out. That is a cat hair. Backlight's good. Another cat hair. Let's check the input resistance. Okay, yeah, it's close enough to 20. And that's good too. So the current sense resistances are okay. I was more checking them because I was in the area there. Alright, so visually we don't have anything overly enticing. It's all pretty standard muck and junk. So it's time to start checking rails. Ugh, I hate checking rails. Let's go to diode mode. And we got a pretty damn hard shot. Too much fibre in this board, it's had a hard shot. Okay, so we got a very hard short on our main rail. Now we don't know whether it's on this side or that side. If you look at it, it actually kind of looks like it's taking a bit of heat. Anyway, we will take that fuse off and then see which side it is sitting on. It'd be the hard shot that takes the board out. You'd be taken out too if you had a hard shot. Speaking is actually very hard at times. I honestly don't know what side I'm going to prefer to be shorted at this point. I haven't decided. Not sure what I'm in the mood for. Yes, man. I'm starting to wonder whether my hot air station is actually getting to the point where the heater coil needs to be replaced. Hey Teresa, yes, that can be very problematic when that sort of thing happens. Then you got to do the penguin walk. And it would appear it's on this side here, which I do believe is the system side. Yep, PV bus G3 hot. Alright, well, yeah. So it is on the main system side, so really at this point we're basically going to gym cam it. Yeah, you know, it's not good when one slips past the catcher. Probably would have helped if I pickled the connectors and okay, so we've just got a couple of wires, a power supply, and an infrared camera. Just realised I kind of butchered the wires the last time because we were so desperately trying to find that short that was actually in the board. Just have to make up a new set. I could use a thicker gauge wire, but it becomes problematic when you're trying to attach it to smaller pads. Yeah, that's a terrible wicking of the wire, but I don't care in this instance. That there is for the alligator end. Scan the job. No, I haven't actually. Thanks for reminding me. One time the community actually was right. There we go. Promo, do you have the flexboard view with the like 165? You can use the 165 for the 34, 37 one. The PM Sleep S4L tracking guide, like where you can actually follow through the different rails that you need. Yeah, so that's good for that. Now I need my red. Where's big red? That one's already done. Vanna Flexboard. Ah, okay. It is on the internet. The guide. I forget who actually put it up. I think it was Pionov. It's just a sequence that you can follow, step through and try and find out where your PM Sleep S4L or why it's not coming up. Okay, that's good. And we'll stick the ground. That's a bit of a dud ground, that one. It doesn't have a lot of copper around it. Terrible things we do to micro pencil tips. There's one on Logo Wiki. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's probably where I first glanced at it as well. Okay, better change our voltage. I'm going to just go for 1 volt, 5 amps. That should be a reasonable level to start with. It's not like we're trying to be a short killer here. Hello, Hibiki Shibata. Welcome. Let's see if we get a bit more of the board in view. Let me adjust the offsets a little bit. We hit the juice button. And there we go. Oh, is it that cap that I marked? I bet you it's that cup that I marked. It's probably the one next to it now, my luck. Okay, that's all we need for that. Nice when it pops up straight away. We will see which one it is just now by using the alcohol method. Hey, repair it all. Oh, actually I can see the venting down there now that I'm looking at it closer. You can just see that sort of discoloration there. Anyway, let's throw some alcohol on it and see how it behaves. It might not actually burn up in a hurry because it is a fairly low current that I'm using. But yep, that's it. I guessed the winner. I guessed it. I guessed it. Yeah, sadly I don't get any prizes though. Such is the life of being your own host. Doesn't matter. Now we've got to get it out without destroying any others. First time lucky. Well, Miles, now, you got to remember I had a couple of dead CPUs last week. And I've got a whole bunch of other liquid damage ones that have proven difficult. So, admittingly, I am pretty damn happy about this at this point. Now, I'm really going to need some assistive heat here. I'm just going to pickle the solder, and then I'll come in with the hot air. These caps aren't so bad, but they do still get a little upset when they get overheated. Yeah, I can smell the burn on that cap now. Which means I actually need to up that. Ah, Pro Engineer, thank you very much, good sir. That's really nice of you to actually do that, thank you. Now we've got to try and solve your problem too. Try to get some more leaded down. I kind of delayed there. I was too busy talking to Pro Engineer. Opportunity to get some complete leaded solder down there before the board cools off too much. Overall, that's way too much, but what you're going to do. Now, the other thing we do need to do before we put a replacement on there is to make sure that our short is in fact gone. Because it can always be multiple shorts, and yeah, it's looking fine. Another great big beat. Andrew, for these sort of large mass connections, then yes, I have. I'll probably be using lead-free for the open board boards, but for these sort of things, you kind of need leaded so you can defeat the thermal mass. Alright, so we can pretty much take any of these ones here. Hey, admin media. What was your thought process, or what was the clue that gave away? Tony, right at the start of the video when I'm looking around, there was a little bit of a greasy residue on that cap. Now, I wasn't sure whether it was just random spot of residue or whether it was the capacitor electrolyte leaking out. I couldn't actually see a crack or anything like that, so I wasn't 100% sure. But I took it as a maybe. Given the fact that I had such a hard short on PP bus, I was thinking it's going to be something like that, a cap. Either that or an internal board short. Unfortunately, we'd already ruled out the CPU being shorted, thank goodness. So it was more of a visual check than anything else. Not that that means much, to be honest. There are plenty of times when you see something and you think, oh, you know, that's going to be what the fault is, and it turns out it's not. Bottom middle looks like it has a crack. Well, you can't see any cracks here. I'm not sure what you're meaning. Could be wrong. Ah, damn it. Yeah, it is advisable, of course, as always, to put a seatbelt on the part before you start blowing it. Oh, on the donor board. You're talking about this? That there is just a scratch in the paint. Alright, we've got to put the fuse back on, and we've got to get these things off somehow. That is a craggly mess, that is. Crikey, that's molten there, but... God damn it. I don't know where my fuse went. I refuse to believe I lost that. Aha, found it. Alright, that fuse is actually on the underside. You know how I was saying that I could see that it was upset? And it's burned on the underside, so it probably may in fact be a bit of a dud. Or a zombie fuse. Let's have a look, see what resistance it has. And as it turns out, the fuse is blown anyway. So yeah, the fuse actually did die. And the reason why I was able to see that PP Bus had a short on it was only because I happened to probe this side. If I'd checked this side, it would have been open, yeah, whatever PP Bus normally is. So that was actually simply a fortunate mistake. If I'd gone the other side, I could have been chasing unicorns for the next 10 hours. I mean, I would have found out when I tried to power it up and nothing much comes up. Now, David, it was just a lucky guess. There's been plenty of times where I've been completely wrong. It was a lucky guess based on a couple of hopeful symptoms. I can guarantee you I'll botch it up the next time though. I'm just going to have to fillet out that fuse a little bit on the right side. It's not likely to be a real problem, but I do prefer that particularly when you're dealing with high current parts, it's good to have them fully filleted. There we go. And I think we're ready to test at that point. The board could probably do with a cool off actually. Just feeding it into the extractor. Hey, Infomedia. Rob Perkins, I'm not sure that they actually will. I'm almost anticipating to see them show up in ZXW and Xing Wang or whatever it's called, and never actually be available as a board view, a normal file board view that we're anticipating. And I'm sort of trying to head that off, but I may be lagging by a year or so by coming up with a way of being able to create our own board views. Miles, is that, if I believe what they have is just a limited set at the moment. I don't know if they have the full board view. But if they do, then that pretty much proves my point. Oh, yeah, I just realized we need to reset the memory back to 18 volts. Okay. Oh, we got lights up. I'm just going to wait for the green blinks. And I should not look away while I'm waiting for it. Come on, blinky blink. Hey, there we go. So the board's alive. Thank goodness for that. Hey, Ice King. Ah, Eric's here. Hello, Eric. Yeah, Eric, I'm more than happy for you to capture as many obscure boards, because the point is that out there somewhere someone else is looking for that information. And if we can start to create a repository for as much of that information as possible, then it only encourages more people then to come forth with their information. So hopefully I don't make too many missteps with the design and deployment of this OpenBoardData system. And I am planning on expanding it out to actually support board views, files, and schematics as part of the database for ones that we're legally allowed to. So like, you know, if I want to put up a board view and schematic for this, then I can. You know, I'll just put it on OpenBoardData and other people can come along and collect from there. Noob Nah, what is the best advice to give someone attempting to screen placement on a mid-2009 MacBook Pro from the is that 12 or 15 inch? There really shouldn't be a lot of... Are you just replacing the entire module, like the entire screen assembly, or are you trying to replace the LCD within that? Because the former is easy, the latter is a little more tricky. But really, it shouldn't pose any extreme difficulty other than just simply keep track of all the screws. The hardest part's probably going to be dealing with the Wi-Fi module and the camera and all that sort of thing, because yeah, the cabling and the stacking is a bit fiddly in that area. LCD inside. Okay, no, I'll defer that to someone else. It's not the sort of repair I bother doing anymore, if I can help it. In terms of time efficiencies, it's a pretty awful way of spending half a day, especially considering that so many times you'll end up with dust spots or liquid ingress marks and things like that, and you have to go and do it all again, or you can end up with a disappointed customer. I mean, it's your choice. Especially for something like a 2009, there's got to be cheap entire assemblies out there. I mean, you can get 1466 assemblies now for, I think, about 130 US. Now I know that, yeah, that's not cheap for everybody. That's, for some people, that's extremely expensive. I guess I'm just talking relative compared to, say, a A1398 15-inch Retina screen, which is incredibly expensive still. At the moment, I'm going around buying up what stock I can of 1708 decks and screens. 1708s are starting to become the 1466s in my job queue, as in I get them a lot, and I'm pretty happy to repair them. If you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm just reassembling as much as I can so I can check to see if we have reasonable functionality. Yeah, no, it is more expensive, and you're not going to make as much profit seemingly, but it will save you so much time. If you could concurrently in two different universes take the path of replacing the inner LCD and then take the path also of replacing just the entire module, the assembly, and see how you could compare at the end of it which one of you is more insane and has more profit. Sometimes it's just more profitable to do the quicker job. It's all relative depending on the people. Okay, the reason why we're having to check this right now is because it's not to say that we didn't blow the ISL and we can't charge, things like that, so we've got to check those parameters before we go too much further. I need to get my MacBook boot stick, there we go. Otherwise you can suffer the infamous celebrate too early scenario when it comes to this sort of repair. Made the mistake of removing the lower bezel of... Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, Space Cookies, good evening. Yeah, it can be very easy to go from a annoying job to a depressing job where you got to fork out a couple of hundred, maybe even $1,000 to fix up what was a split-second hiccup. Hey, MC Rams, McRams. Okay, come on. Okay, so we've got 6%, so we do have battery communication. We do have keyboard. Fan spinner's enjoying itself. We do have Wi-Fi. Yeah, I didn't hear the bong, but some people actually do disable that. Let's see. Speakers work, so they may have just disabled that. Hey, Micromage, morning to you. There is a little bit of a lag on this machine compared to what I'm expecting, but it may simply be just starting up. Okay, escape work, cap works up. Okay, that's good. Keyboard's good. I mean, I wasn't expecting the keyboard to misbehave. I just do it out of being pedantic. Okay, microphone and speaker are good. Okay, face cam works. See if the SD works. SD card works. Admin Media, it's a program I wrote. You can get yourself a copy off GitHub. I haven't got the link right in front of me right now. But yeah, I wrote it because the number of times I felt like I need to test the keyboards, and the existing testers didn't have the functionality I wanted. Okay, 30 frames per second, that's pretty good going. So temperature's picking up. Let's see, make sure the fan picks up as well. Yep, fan's picking up. Yeah, admin, that's exactly it. It's... And it will also pick up if there is a delayed release on the button, like particularly if it's like got gummy material on it. So it will register, but then it takes a long time to deregister. where you can get scenarios where you end up having, say, 2 or 3 key presses coming off the one key. It'll pick up things like that and highlight it. Alright, so this board is looking good. We'll put it through the ultrasonic and then give it its full test tomorrow. All these machines do have to endure the ultrasonic test. Yeah, admin, that's right. With the keyboard, I mean, I know you can, try and replace them, but it seems a hell of a lot more fiddly than just getting a replacement deck. It's like I would sooner quote and replace a 1708 deck outright than try and replace that biscuit base of a keyboard. Okay, so that one's done. Suppose I should write notes on that, eh? Would be the sensible thing to do. So this is 859. Okay. Damn, what was that cap? Thank you, Sonia. Thank you very much for that. Danielle, if you don't ultrasonic the boards, not a lot, depending on what flux you use and things like that. Yeah, if you get a no clean flux, not a huge amount necessarily will go wrong, but it's more a case of by ultrasonic, you put it through a bit of a mechanical rigor test. So you shake things around, you remove any possible corrosion that may be of just holding a part together, things like that. So it's a bit of a stress test for the board. Okay, 7374 was that cap that I had. See, 7374 placed. And that's pretty much that for that board. I mean, there are some places that prefer not to ultrasonic because they don't want to risk exposing those issues, because if it means that the job that they could have got paid for, now they can't get paid for because there's either more work or it's completely failed. Good reason to do data recovery before ultrasonicking. 859. There will still be some scenarios where you probably shouldn't run the data recovery until you fix up the entire board, but yeah, that's really comes down to an experience and bad luck scenario. Just taking the heatsink off this one. See, Miles, what do you recommend for charging LiPo batteries? Rip the micro USB port off my keyboard, destroy the pad, so I was looking at getting an external 3-pin charger. Yeah, tough call. Like single cell charger? There's plenty of single cell, like MCP 1712, I think it is. I can't remember. There's... Make your own. They're quite trivial to make, actually. And the nice thing is they run straight off USB port. It was one of the products I used to manufacture and sell for model aircraft community, because at the time people were just getting into using a single cell LiPo for their model aircraft, like little indoor ones or lightweight type ones. And so I made a little programmable charger, and by programmable charger I mean just had like a hex switch assembly on it, like 16 different options or whatever, and you could then select what current you wanted. I think I actually used 10-way. Anyway, yeah, you could select what current you wanted, plug it into the USB port, plug it into the battery, and it would handle everything automagically. Sold quite a lot of those. They weren't actually a big profit center, but they were popular. Forgot to write the number on this board. ASV, yeah, that 20 to 30 frames per second on Valley is pretty normal. If you're getting lower than that, make sure the battery's connected. So 859. And even if the battery is connected and you're still getting low, then it's time to go check your sensors. Right. Let's see, what else do I have to do? I've got an iPhone I've got to sort out. Belle, what are you doing in here? Hey. What are you doing? She's not supposed to be on that area. The frames per second is variable when I start. That is pretty normal. When you first start Valley, it will dip down to 5 or 6, but then it should pick up, and it will vary depending on the scene that's being displayed. But yeah, anything typically from 20 frames per second upwards, and you're okay. It's one of those things where it's, you kind of get used to the figures one way or another. Alright, so this thing is reporting strange values. Now I don't know whether it's the dock or whether it's the TriStar or whether it's the Trident, in fact. I'll have to find out. It's the 6S Plus. Catherine? Yeah, Belle's supposed to be in the Wildlings pen, but they still basically have access to everything. We need to get them separated though. They cause not a lot of trouble, but they do still have some impact on ours. Alright, so the battery's been changed. Might as well disconnect the screen because it won't play a part in influencing whether this thing's charging or not. And if I've got to change, well, regardless of whether I've got to change the dock or whether I've got to take the board out, the screen has to come off anyway. The reason why red and green mark those screws is just simply to avoid the potential risk of long screw damage. I mean, I think you got to be pretty ham-fisted to actually induce long screw damage, but you can be pretty stupid and leave the sound like someone's car is a very bad slipping belt. It's kind of weird at this time of night. Okay, so what I'll do, the first thing is try a different dock. I haven't got a merch set up. Okay. Just my wife signaling to me that things are okay. But the way she signaled indicated that it's sort of not okay, but she's got it under control. Maybe screwdriver. Ha! Very funny. Mocking my superb fix that actually still applies. Okay, so at the moment with that plugged in, it's only showing 130, 200. It's a very strange current value to see for this. And it drops. It's all over the place. There's not a lot of consistency. And the battery seems to get stuck at 13%. And that is with this dock. Mind you, I've got to admit, this dock actually looks pretty terrible, to be honest. Not really the sort of dock I'd feel confident putting back in. And it's essentially the similar behavior this way too. It's like it's all over the place, but it's low when it should be in the 1 amp range, things like that. Which does sort of give me a little bit of apprehension, because it's not really what I consider classic TriStar type failure. So I'm not really sure what I'm dealing with. But I suppose it's kind of like the standard thing to do is when you've got charge issues, try the TriStar if you've eliminated the rest of the board. Might be a bad cell. Well, it's possible, but like this one here, I don't know. It runs, but it shows up 13% pretty much the whole time. I don't think I've got another one. Of all the times I've run out of battery stock, I don't think there's any other battery I can use. Maybe an iPhone 8 battery, I think. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's another model that has the same connector as the 6S. Let's see, if I plug this battery in, I also don't get good behavior. But to be fair, this is a 2017 battery, so you're kind of thinking, okay, age has got to that one. So with that battery plugged in, I get nothing. Like with this plugged in, nothing charges. It, yeah, no go. So I'm kind of thinking that one went completely flat, and so it's suffering the problem of the TriStar not firing it up. There is a way I can actually check that. I can charge it externally and see if it then is recognized and starts putting in some sort of current. Now the downside of doing it this way is some people will probably go, and rightfully so, I could probably I could probably replace the TriStar in the time it takes me to do what I'm about to do. Especially on the 6S. 6S Plus rather. Come on. Let's see, what are my options here? Okay, it does look like I could use just a 6S battery. If I just get a 6S battery, I probably can do this. 6G is different. No, got nothing there. Damn it. Oops. Yeah, the battery voltage is way too low on that. Oh wait, that's current. But even still, 2.89, it's kind of dangerously low. You shouldn't really be charging along that. So I'm going to walk out of the room. Okay, well I've got a 6S battery we can plug in if this doesn't fire off, just so we can add a bit more verification. So we're not charging at a high rate, 0.17 amps. It's not a big problem. Hey, at least I'm zoomed in and you can get a reasonable shot of the fire. That might actually be enough just to see if it IDs it. Wow, shapes weren't a good thing then. Plugged in. And we're still down at 0, so that obviously is not the case. Okay, so we're just going to try a 6S battery, obviously lower capacity, but it has the same connector, so we can do this as a test. I'm fairly sure they don't ID the actual chip in it. So interestingly enough, we are actually getting 1.5 amps. So maybe I do just have a dud. Oh wait, it's kind of all over the place. It's 6. So maybe it is another dud battery. No, because that's posting 1.9 amps now. I have a sandbag bucket container for these sort of battery situations. Ugh. So it could either be a bad connector or a bad battery. Or maybe both. Oh, you are really starting to tick me off. Seriously, we're playing this game? Don't you dare break. Mother flipper dough. Oh, me so happy. How annoying. Gotta be careful doing it from this end. Very easy to damage the circuit board. Oh, people don't like Jar Jar Binks? How can that be? Alright, so this was June last year this was made, but it should still be acceptably functional. Clasps look fine. Soldering looks fine. Yeah, it seems okay to me. Doesn't mean it is, but yeah. I'm sort of disinclined to open that up simply on the basis of the fact that if I do, I won't be able to send that back for a warranty. Just going to try to plug it in again. Maybe it does just need... Yeah, sometimes when you give it a bit more of a squish. No. Back to the rotten old behaviour again. Alright. I think we'll have to give up for tonight. I think it's late enough. It's already 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just going to have to make the customer wait for... yeah, they're just going to have to wait for me to get more stock of batteries. Which who knows when that will be, given the current environment. But not much I can do. Hit it with a nail. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Not a fan of the way they're doing the batteries at the moment here. Yeah, they've got all this extra plastic casement. Yeah. The sticker on the back, that's great. I like that. But even this wasted bit of paper, really do wish they'd minimise on their packaging. I'm not sure how recyclable this clear plastic is. I suspect it probably is fairly recyclable, but actually getting it together is another story. Yeah, that one I can understand is dead. It's 2017. Fair enough, that's old. But this one, not so good. Alright then. Well, that's it for the night. We've got 2 machines fixed up or one? One machine fixed up. One circuit board built. One disappointment with the AT2045s being the wrong size. I'll have to go and order those now. And, oh well, not too bad overall. So, thank you very much everybody for being here. I might see you tomorrow. If someone else is out there who can do live board repairs, that'd be nice too, because I'd like to sit down and watch someone and make my bad comments. I'll see you all guys later. Take care. Until next time.